60. Sankha, Dhamana, Dhamma Jatak. धाम धमीना थी धामे अति धतांगी पपिकन धनतेनारी गाथा भोगते तथो विधर्मा धमांति. And once upon a time Tiloguru Buddha lived in Jetavanarma. Arabhya said this Jatak to the poor monks. On the last day, when a king named Brahmadatta was ruling in the city of Varanasi, our great Bodhisattva was born in the Sakpibina caste. At that time, when Bosatano called his father and came to the village with the treasure, he came to a forest where thieves were hiding and stopped the father who had blown the sack. I will chase the thieves with the voice of the father, he said without interruption. Those thieves stole the property in the same way as mentioned before. The Bodhisattva also said in the manner mentioned earlier. Excites, no excites. Does not overinflate. It is very lazy to overdo it. Because he said that the object obtained by blowing the sack was destroyed by our father who repeatedly blew the sack. The Buddha, who was a sage, brought out these dhammas and finished the Jatak on the Samkha Dha. At the same time, the father became disobedient. He said to himself, if I am born as a son, I will be the king of Tiloguru Samyak Sambuddhu. 61. Asatmanna Jataka. Asa lokit thayo is still tasan navijjati. Sarayata pagapta sikhi sabbasaso yaya. Tha hishtha pabajisami sometimes manobrahanti. And once upon a time Lord Tiloguru Buddha, who had an irresistible knowledge of all dharma, said this Jatak to a group of monks who were engrossed in worship. Here the present story is revealed in Umadanti Jatak, the omniscient to that monk. Monk, the women of this world are the objects of suffering, unworthy men, lazy, and last. Vidara said until the end that you are such a lame woman. The other day, when a king named Brahmadatta was reigning in Varanasi, our great Bosatana was born in the Brahman family of Taxala in the Gandhara country, became a wise man and became a master of the Vedas and all the arts. At that time, a son of a Brahman caste in Varanasi kept fire on his birthday. Then, when the Brahman prince reached the age of 16, the parents said, Son, we would have burned the days of your birth. If you want to be born in the world of Brahman, take fire and worship the god of fire and live in Brahmaloka Parayan. Man says that I am unable to use fire. The parents bowed down and took 1,000 pieces of meat called Acharya Kotasaya, saying that they would establish a family, and went to Taxala city to learn the craft and came back. His parents did not want to leave the country. They want to sacrifice to the fire god. Therefore, at that time, the mother of the human being, Tomo, was wise enough to send to women's faults. He expressed himself, thinking that you are able to tell my sons the faults of women. My son said, have you learned the art? Yes, mother Vahans, I said. When did you learn Asata Mantrayon? No, if you didn't learn Asata mantras when you died, what skill did you learn? Yavar Asata learned mantras and said. That human being accepted what the mother said was good and went back to Taxala. The mother of that priest is also very old. They are 120 years old. Those Disapomo Kacharis bathe, feed and nourish their mothers with their own hands. The rest of the human beings see bodhisattvas doing this and are disgusted. At that time Mahabosatano thought like this. He thought that it would be good if the mother lived in the forest being nourished. After that, Mahabosatana thought like this and built a temple in a place of rice fields in a quiet garden. He brought ghee, bees, sakuru, undu, moon, sal, etc., took the mother and went to the forest and lived there, being nourished by the mother. Even the man who wanted to learn that Asata mantra went to Texala city and did not see the Acharya. Vichara even heard where the Acharya was and went to the forest and worshipped. At that time, he said, "Who are the teachers?" The man who asked Ebers said, "Doesn't it mean that Asha does not teach me what I ask?" My mother said, "Who asked you to teach Mr. Aska, Vichalo or others?" At that time, bodhisattvas and suttas did not have such a thing as Asata mantra in this book. I thought that these men of the man were willing to point out women's faults to me. Then the great bodhisattva said to you, "Child, good, I will give you the Asta mantra." Today I fought and from my position bathed my mother with her hands, fed her, nourished her, massaged her hands, feet, head, etc. It is the body that is good. Read what it will be like when you are a baby, and read the virtues of hands and feet when your limbs are growing. If you have been told something by my mother, do not be ashamed of it, but tell it to me. If you have done so, get the Asata mantra. He said that if he didn't do it, he wouldn't get it. That man accepted the words of the great bodhisattva that he was a good person and a teacher, and from then on he did all the things that were said. After that, the bodhisattva's mother was blinded by the filth, thinking that even though that human being repeatedly glorified the body, the bodhisattva's mother was blinded by the filth. One day when those bodhisattva mothers were painting their bodies, they said to that human being, "Would you like to ascend with me?" Aryan Vahangs, "I wish." Acharya asked if he had become a teacher. He said, "If it is in my will, I will kill my sons." When Manavakaya said this, the Acharya said, "I will kill you because I have learned the art so far from the Acharya. In that case, I will kill those children if I don't know them." The women of this world are the same as the men, and they are full of misery. They are lazy, they are Westerners. Even from such an age, if he wanted to kill the son who had helped him, Kaklesha would be seduced by lust. Therefore, women are evil men. Then the human told all those stories to the Bodhi truths. After hearing this, Mahabosatana Manavak, the one who told me all that news, said that the things done by him would be very good. Knowing that those who watch the life of the ladies will die today, Manavik, I will test his intention like this. Kasta made a figure, and if he hit himself with the axe, the place rose up. He told me to tie a rope and handcuff the child and take an axe and tell my mother that if I hit her here, she will point out the near. After hearing this, the man went and worshipped in the temple of Ayans and Acharyas. If you hit the spot, if I hit him, he will open the axe that has been tied for a long time to find out the place. After hearing this, the Bodhi animals asked if they would not kill me. I asked if I left you for a reason. At that time, the Bodhisattva mother opened the sword and trembled and stood up with the sign of Ratha and took her hand and looked at it. Kasta removed the garment from the face of the image and opened the axe and thought that she would kill him with one blow. After that, the great Bodhisattva stayed away and thought, "Mother, what are you going to do? If their temple is attacked, they must die at that time." Therefore, Mother Mahabosatana knew the dead near and cremated her in the grave, offered flowers from the earth, called the human being and sat at the door of the temple. Women are evil men. Asana, your mother has learned the Asata mantra and sent those who are sent near me to know the faults of women. Will you see my lady's faults clearly, now Kali? Because of this fact, women take away pleasures and produce sorrows. Suffering things. They are immoral and lazy. He sent a warning to that human being that they will be the last to know. That human being also bowed to the priests and went near the parents. At that time, the mother said, "Son, have you learned the Asatha mantra?" He questioned, "Yes, woman, what shall we do now? Shall we pray to the god of fire? Or should we go to the laity?" Said the man who asked, "Woman, I have realized and seen the faults of women. Therefore, I have no use for the layman. I am a monk from the heathen kingdom." He said the intention was expressed as follows: women in this world are called Asat Purusha. Isn't there a limit to the satisfaction of carrot mud so far? In the same way, women are not satisfied with the fact that they have been defiled for days. Therefore, I will cultivate my body and mind and become a monk. And by saying this, I will purify the heat from Pravrajya and treat it, and give birth to Panchabhijna Ashta Samapatti. I will rest the body from the Gana and the mind from the impurity, and by cultivating this twofold relaxation, I will be born into the world of Brahma. After insulting women, saying that I have no use for a layman, he bowed down to his parents and was born in the world of Brahma. O sage Buddha, women are objects of sorrow. They are evil men. Chatusatya declared the vices of women and said that they are lazy and give pain. At the end of Chatusatya's sermon, the monk, who had lost his grip, was sitting on the sovan line. Lord Buddha, the sage, completed the preliminaries and uttered this Asatmanna Jataka. At that time, the mother was now Bhadrakapilaniya and the father was Mahakashyapasthavira. Anetvarshikas are now Anandasthaviras. At that time, he said to himself, "If I am the teacher of Disipamok, I am the same as Tiluguru Samyak Sambuduraja."